Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. It is Wednesday, February 5th. Happy hump day. Hope you're doing well. And what's going on? I told you to buy Aurora. I told you to put all your money into it. Just kidding. But what a great quarter from Aurora. Used to be the dud and down for the count, probably the most hated MJ stock on planet Earth, and for some reason it has morphed into the darling in the space today. So I'll give my thoughts and opinions on this, but before I give my thoughts and opinions, let me know in the live chat or in the comment section after the fact. Obviously, if you're viewing this after, then you might already know. But yeah, let me know in the live chat why you think that they had such a good quarter. I've got my thoughts and opinions, and I'll share that with everybody. But yeah, it's one distinct. Well, I guess maybe you could say two, but I would say it's one major reason why they absolutely crushed this quarter. So we'll get started here in about 30 seconds, a bit of a last minute live stream. So make sure to smash the like. Let us know where you're tuning in from as you join in. Tilray 30X. Yeah, we got a ways to go before that happens. All right, we got about a dozen people. We'll just get things kicked off here. So we're going to review Aurora's earnings that just came out, Q3 2025 earnings. They absolutely crushed estimates. And I know I'm going to get somebody say again that why is Aurora reporting falsely? It should be Q1 2025. No, it's fiscal Q3 2025. So even though we're in Q1 2025 calendar, you can actually report on Q3 2025 because they have different fiscal year ends, right? So I get a ton of people saying it's like, oh, they screwed up the press release or the earnings report. They put Q3, it should be Q1. I'm like, oh, so they screwed up this one and the one before and the one before that. It's kind of funny. But yeah, just if anytime somebody says that, I want to remind everybody that it's different calendar versus fiscal. So we'll jump into this. Before we do, make sure to smash like, all that good stuff. Smash like, helps support in the channel. You can tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future content. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. In full disclosure, I do own a small bit of Aurora in my portfolio. So we were expecting, this is 57 million here, but I think that's incorrect. Let's just bring up Aurora here. So yeah, revenue, yeah, we were forecasting 80.005 million. It came in at 88.2. EPS was forecasted at negative 0.027, and it came in at positive 58, I believe it was. So absolutely crushed on both, and that's why the stock is currently up 45% at the moment. But yeah, I think they have, I think they put the Canadian number here and then the US dollar figure there. So stupidinvesting.com. I don't know why. I guess they just figured no one cares about Aurora anymore. But I want to remind everybody as well, right? I hear so many people say, oh, what about if this company does a stock split? Aurora did two. It did one in 2020, and that was a 1 for 12. And it did one in 2024, and that was a 1 for 10. So, just because a company does a reverse split, and again, on my last video, I talked about this on Tilray. I said, reverse splits are bad. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, obviously, we don't want a stock to do a reverse split, but there's some good things that can come of it by increasing the share price for institutional investors. And also, if you have like a ton of shares, it decreases the float and whatnot. It's easier to move the stock. So there's a couple benefits of it, and you get to maintain your listing on a U.S. major exchange, right? So it's just an accounting trick at the end of the day. But how quickly people forget, right? So many people today are like, oh, the new darling in the space, it's Aurora, the new king in town. And I want to remind everybody that they've already done two massive reverse splits. So just because a company does a reverse split doesn't mean it can't recover, right? Look at INSG. That thing did I think it was 1 for 10 reverse split. Then it went from $1 to $20, did a 20x after a reverse split. But yeah, generally reverse split's not good. But ACB off of the low a couple of days ago is now up almost 62% from the high of the day today. If we take a look at the percentage gain here today across the sector, it seems like ACB really starting to wake up the sector. I was really surprised, to be honest, that that it even moved the sector this month. But there's also Pennsylvania, some news that they're looking to legalize as well. So CGC, Tilray following, and then OGI. So all of the Canadian names, and very that makes a lot of sense, right? Because Aurora is a Canadian name, and they're all listed on major U.S. major exchanges. So decent day overall. So thank you very much, Aurora, for the fantastic quarter. You're pumping my Aurora bags. It's not a big one, but it's a bag nonetheless, and you're really helping my other large bags in the space. But obviously, there was a great move by Aurora to focus on one area, and they're focusing on medical, right? I remember mentioning in the Pow Group private community earlier today, and it was a couple of years ago, where there was a report out on the national market share in Canada, and Aurora had dropped down to like the 20th position. Like, it was just really, really bad and dire straits, and just very bleak outlook for the company. And the fact that, shout out to Miguel Martin as well for, the CEO, to really help turn this ship around, and he did so in record time. So, it's great that they focused on that. Not everybody trying to be everything to everybody, right? We have some companies focusing on key aspects, and what Aurora is doing is focusing on the international and the medical side. Hello, hello. You got CGC 40X, ACB 20X. Hello from Ukraine, I believe that is. Hello, hello. We got Vanessa. I was wondering about that. Would you be selling CGC into this strength? No, absolutely not. No, everything's still down like 90% from all-time highs, pretty much. Surprise high tide not following suit. Yeah, so it's just the laggards, right? Today, Gary. But for sure, Vanessa wondering about that. So I don't see anybody commenting here. So the reason why Aurora is had such a phenomenal quarter is because they don't have to pay that much in excise tax anymore, because they only operate a small portion of their business right now in Canada, and as we know, this is plaguing the industry. About a third of companies' revenues are going to excise tax. We'll bring up that in just a moment. But that is the number one driver as to why Aurora has been able to turn the ship around so fast. So Aurora MJ announces fiscal 2025 third quarter results, and you'll see their margins here as a result of this pivot. Reports total net revenue of $88.2 million, up 37% year over year, including record net revenue of $68.1 million in global medical MJ, up 51% year over year. So there you go. Generates record net income of $31.2 million, up 282% year over year, and record adjusted EBITDA of $23.1 million, up 316% year over year. Achieves target of positive free cash flow in Q3, generating $27.4 million in free cash flow. Maintains strong balance sheet with $180 million of cash and debt-free MJ business. So again, I don't think anybody. This is how quickly things can change, folks. And don't count these companies out. Everybody said Aurora was a dud, and now it's the darling, right? It was down for the count, and now it's looking better than ever. So this is how quickly things can change. And usually, I think probably I would say it's safe to say like 99% of retail investors thought this company was going to just go the way of the dodo, so to speak, and just fall by the wayside and go quote unquote bankrupt, or CCAA or whatever you want to call it. But this goes to show you that usually retail's wrong majority of the time, and I would say it was probably 99% this time. So this quarter was a record-breaking one for Aurora, driven by all-time highs in global medical net revenue. So that's the kicker, right? So again, we'll look at excise taxes here in just a moment. But again, I'm not going to go through all of this in effort of time. Everybody can read, so I'm not going to read it for you. And I'll give my thoughts and opinions here. I did want to go through their margins, though. Here we go. Consolidated adjusted gross margin before value adjustments, fair value adjustments, was 65% in Q3 2025 and 53% in the prior year quarter. Adjusted gross profit before fair value adjustments was $56 million in Q3 2025 versus $33.6 million in the prior year quarter, an increase of 67%. So obviously, if you're focusing on medical and international, your margins are going to be a lot higher. And I was actually kind of wondering why wouldn't they just sacrifice the U.S. listing and go headfirst into the U.S. medical market as well? We'll see what happens there. But let me see here. Yeah. So they talk about the income. So love to see it. Positive free cash flow, record net income, $31.2 million. So if we bring up the report here, actually, I'll just bring it up in the Pow Group private community because I had a nice thread going there with everything in it. Here we go. So I said, for those wondering what the heck did ACB do, that they stopped selling products in Canada. I said, well, not entirely, but a good bit. So if you go to the interim consolidated financial statements, you can see here their excise tax was only 7.78 million out of 95.978 million total, bringing it for a net of 88.2 rounded up. So again, most companies are paying a third of their revenue, their top line revenue, to excise tax alone. And that's not including, payroll taxes, income taxes. This is just excise tax, right? And this is barely anything, right? So that is because they're not paying that. And then if we take a look here at their earnings per share, so it came in at positive 58 when we were expecting negative 0.02. And the same quarter last year was negative 0.36. So massive, massive turnaround and crushed, absolutely annihilated analyst estimates. So that's why the stock is flying high today. But yeah, shout out to some of the POW Group private members. We were talking about this it had to have been a year or two ago where, we said that this is probably a great move for Aurora. And there's an article just came through here. Seems like everybody's reporting on it now in full force. You got the MJ Business Times and the MJ Herald record-breaking Q3 revenue and profit growth. So again, if anybody's confused, it's all about the excise tax, right? So as you can see here, Aurora MJ, 7.78 million. And for example, right, look at Tilray's last report. So Tilray's last report, MJ revenue was 87 million and change. They paid 21 million in excise tax. Okay, so that's the difference. And then look at Oxley's last report. They brought in, this was over a third. So they brought in just under 51 million and they paid 17.7 million in excise taxes for a net of 33 million. Right? So that's over a third that they paid. Tilray's was just under a third. So again, this is something that no one talks about, right? And you have to, you can't just look at the numbers. Again, this is why numbers, if you looked at Aurora's earnings reports, for the first couple of years or, even in the last couple of years, they were atrocious. But this is how quickly things can change, right? And just if one aspect of the industry were to change excise tax regimes, that would be huge, right? And then this was, obviously excise tax didn't change. It's just they changed their business model and they pivoted to international markets and specifically medical. And I interviewed Aurora, CEO of Avicana, biopharmaceutical company. And, he talked about how, and they just partnered with Philip Morris, and they've had Shoppers Drug Mart and J&J Incubator. So he talked about how they're still charging Canadians excise tax on medical. So a lot of, I think they said 70% of their revenue is coming from insurance and adjudicated insurance. So the fact that we're still charging excise tax on medical products is asinine. That has to end. You shouldn't be charged any excise tax on medicine, in my opinion, and I think most would agree in the space. But yeah, the excise tax obviously needs to be improved as well, and we do have Trudeau on the way out, so we'll see who his successor is. But at the end of the day, it could be Pierre Poilievre, and he's very, very anti-tax. So he wants to lower taxes. So hopefully, he was anti-MJ. He voted against legalization in 2018, but he since changed his stance to more progressive, and I think it'll be a net positive overall. A rising high tide lifts all ships, yeah. Would this help create the final bottom that we've been waiting for? Certainly, like I said to the POW Group private community, I think we need to see at least 100 to 200% moves off the bottom to be confident that the bear market's over and we could start a new bull market. But yeah, the Pennsylvania news is great. We'll see what happens with regards to, there was that amendment as well that one congressman had filed to try and kind of put a wrench in rescheduling and remove that amendment. So that was a positive thing. Pennsylvania looking to legalize. What else was on the go? Yeah, there's a few things on the go, but there's been some, obviously with the DEA and the new interim head there, not a big fan of MJ and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be from a top-down approach, though. It's not going to come, as you can see, they're trying to remove power from these unelected bureaucrats, and I think it's going to be a top-down movement versus, leaving it up to these agencies. And Congress needs to get its act together. It's time to get to work, right, in the U.S. Good to see movement. Tired of DCAing. Long way to go. Long term focus is key. Absolutely. And not following the herd, right? Like 99%. If you listen to 99% of retail investors out there, or if you just join POW Group, we talked about this like a year or two ago about how Aurora, this is probably going to save the company and they're probably going to benefit tremendously from this. But if you went on Reddit or X or any of these other platforms, 99% of retail investors would have told you you're crazy and that Aurora's garbage, right? So this is why, I even created POW Group in the first place, was to filter out all that noise and, get to the logical conclusion, not just use emotions to think, actually use logic and reason in our brain versus emotions. Pam Bondi confirmed. Yep. I think it was like 54 yay, 46 nay or something like that. RFK could also occur. Yeah, I think they will. I think that he will. What is going on? Tilray plus 15%, CDC 26%. Yeah, how so? It's ACB and Pennsylvania news, legalization news potentially. But yeah, it's ACB absolutely crushed earnings. So not a very long video, this one. So I'm going to start wrapping it up here. I do have a electrician coming to one of my long-term tenants to install a new appliance here. So I'm going to be handling that. Is there any news, or was it just a bounce because of Aurora earnings? Yeah, no news other than like absolutely stellar earnings from Aurora. Other than that, like I said, Pennsylvania, there was an article out. Where was it? I'm just scrolling in the POW Group private community, and this is another reason why I love the POW Group private community. Like all these, I got like a couple dozen publishers in here, and it filters all of the news in by publisher and into each respective channel. So like MJ News, Commodity News, Crypto News, and I don't even have to go look at any other websites. I don't have all the news is filtered in here. You can see all the different published businesses: MJ Moment, Green Market Report, everything's in here, and you find out about it first before anybody, right? So it's pretty awesome, and I don't have to go like running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, looking at different websites and things like that. Everything gets filtered into one neat little location. But yeah, where is it? And you can even search. So where the hell was it? Let's get it done. Yeah, there it is. Let's get it done. So Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro, let's get it done. Pennsylvania governor cited the lost tax revenues as residents cross state lines to make recreational purchases. So yeah, wants to get it legalized. And another thing is tax revenue, jobs, and then not only that, not only are they going to want to support this industry for those two aspects, they're going to want to stop spending. Right? Look at DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. They could cut hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, on the failed war on drugs and trying to enforce. Trying to bring enforcement actions against the MJ industry, right? So not only will it create jobs, not only will it create tax revenue, it will also cut down on just unneeded government spending when this is medicine and it's happened. Like it's over half the U.S. is legal. So like, what are you doing? Get with the times. That's why I hate politics, especially in the U.S. Like, no offense, I'm from Canada, but we've been almost legal here at the federal level for 7 years. It's like, what's the holdup here, folks? Like, I don't get it. We're not all zombies walking around in the streets here yet. So I think y'all need to just chill out a little bit there in the U.S. Congress and do your job. Pass sensible laws. Give the people what they want. I think it was like 88% of Americans want MJ legalized in one form or another. It's time to get it done. Start with safe banking, start with rescheduling, start with legalization of medical, and then leave it up to the states if you have to for recreational. But it's time to do what you were there to do. The people pay you, and the people are telling you they want this legalized in the U.S. So get your freaking job done. It's that simple. Late coming in, stoked to catch a live though, even the end. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Dr. Fell. Thanks for joining, and better late than ever. Absolutely. Appreciate you joining in. Tennessee bill, MJ. Oh yeah, that's I did see that as well, but yeah, I think Pennsylvania really stealing the show and probably one of the more important markets, but yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. No way, man. Dr. Fell, there's like 3 MJ stocks popping up today. Look like money was rotating between a few. I don't really know things though. Just watch. Yeah, I think so. Like there was some. There's always leaders and laggards, right? But yeah, you got like names like High Tide, Canara Biotech were really starting to pop up the last little while. And then it's today the common theme is Canadian operators on the U.S. major exchanges. So you got, if you just take a look at the list here, and I'll bring it up real quick. We'll do a quick refresh. So yeah, Aurora up, well, just under 50% at the moment. CGC 31%, Tilray almost 20%, OGI 12.5% ish, and then Cron, SNDL, VFF. So what is the common theme there? It's all Canadian names that are listed on U.S. major exchanges. So the big money's playing in it today, right? You got like a Curaleaf has been up quite a bit in the last little bit. That's on the TSX, so that would make sense, right? The big money's playing around on these major exchanges, not the OTC. High tide last 3 days in a row dumping. Yeah, exactly. So it's been in a monthly uptrend while everything else is in a monthly downtrend. So high tide's been the darling over the last, really year or so, and especially the last few months, it's been very very strong. And like I said, it's in a monthly uptrend when like 99% of MJ is in a monthly downtrend. So it's technically probably the strongest. And money just, like you say, rotating and focusing on the names that are laggards. But yeah, overall, fantastic quarter. Shout out to the Aurora team. Shout out to Miguel Martin, the new CEO. He really did a phenomenal job turning things around in record time. And yeah, hopefully I have him on for an interview here at some point soon. But obviously, excise taxes and those high margins were the reasons for this company to able to turn things around very very quickly. All right, going to end it there. Hope everyone has a great day. It's Rod with the Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll see you on the next one.